What's up? Today, we're going to be getting into the top 16 movies that I watched in the year 2021. Now, we did this last year. A lot of people do top 15s, top 20s, top 30s. They don't do top 16s, which is, weird for most people. So I do one more because I always believe with the movie reviews, because I watch so many every year, that there really needs to be one more slot, and only one more, because I wouldn't be able to make a list of 20 favorite movies. Gosh, I keep saying books. Movies that I watched this year. So, yeah, it would kind of be difficult to do, and that's why we do top 16. Disclaimer at the very beginning of this review. The disclaimer is, these are the books, wow, how many times? It's very difficult to get out of that mindset. These are the movies that I watched in the year 2021 for the first time ever. They're not new releases, they're just the movies that I watched this year that made my top 16, that I've watched for the very first time. So some of these are 2021 releases, and some of these are not 2021 releases. Most of these are not 2021 releases, but these are the movies, the top 16 movies that I watched this year that I made the list for top 16. Also, I think I did a very good job not spoiling last time, or explaining the movies last time without spoilers. So, and I think I did a really good job on my book review. My top 5 books for this year, which, by the way, if you're interested, I would suggest to watch that video, which came out before this one. So, I think I did a really good job on not spoiling those. So, we're going to get right into this, okay? And by the way, these are not ranked in any particular order, although I'm putting this at the top of the list because I know this is my favorite movie for this year. But like I said, these are not ranked. So please, please, please do not think that these are ranked, because they're not. Okay? Are you happy? All right, let's go. The first movie that is on my list of top 16 movies I read this year, wow. Watched this year. I really can't get out of that book mindset. That I watched this year was called Spotlight. It is based on a true story. It actually happened in the year 2001. I'm really having a hard time recording this, y'all, but we're going to get through it. It's about a group of reporters, a group of journalists on the Boston Globe, as they uncover allegations that date back to basically, I believe, the 80s and the 90s. And it's phenomenal. It's got a jam-packed cast. This one, it's funny because I watched it, I believe I ended up watching this after. Yeah, I ended up watching this after my critique on the Catholic Church, which is on my podcast channel. But I ended up watching this after that, and this movie was amazing. I'm going to give a trigger warning here that it talks about some really sensitive subjects. It talks about the church, the Catholic Church more specifically. It talks about childhood trauma, childhood sexual abuse, and sodomy. So again, if that's really not your cup of tea, you're not going to like this movie. But if you understand the inner workings of the Catholic Church, you're going to love this and eat it up, and especially because the cast did an amazing job. Now let me read off the cast to you. It's got Mark Ruffalo in it. It's got Michael Keaton in it. It's got Stanley Tucci in it. It's got Rachel McAdams in it, as well as Liev Schreiber. And it's also got Paul Guffoy in it. Guffoye, I don't even know how to pronounce his name. But it's a jam-packed cast. And it basically follows this tight-knit group of 4 journalists, 4 reporters for the Boston Globe. And they basically are their own section in the Boston Globe because they do very thorough reporting. And this Jewish guy basically becomes the lead editor. And he basically comes in and is very interested in specifically this story. And basically it's amazing. They go down this rabbit hole and find where it leads. They have a few leads in the beginning because the story wasn't new to them. The Boston Globe had picked up on this once before, and basically this is a story of a group of 4 close-knit journalists, true journalists. This is a movie about true, pure journalism. So, and it's a true story. So, and it kind of got covered up by the other day that happened in 2001. But this is a phenomenal book. It hit very close to home of someone that was in the Catholic Church, and it was just an amazing movie. Seriously, I feel like everyone needs to watch this movie, and that's why it's at the top. But again, if you can't handle it for whatever reason, do not watch this movie, because there's some parts that can be very triggering. The cinematography, the acting, the everything about this movie was impeccable. The quotes, the lines that hit home. Every other line in this movie was like really hit home for me. So that's why this is at the top. This was my number 1 movie. And again, like I said, these are ranked in no particular order, but I had to put this at the top of the list because this was definitely my number 1 for the year. Okay. So that's what that one was about. So let's now go down the list normally. The second movie on my list, again, no particular order, except for that one. That one was at the top of the list for a reason. The next movie on this list was originally called Every Breath You Take. Now it's called You Belong to Me. See, sometimes this happens with A, B, C, D, whatever movies. Sometimes they'll change the title, but I had watched it when it was Every Breath You Take, which was the very beginning of the year. This movie is about a psychiatrist and a relationship with a patient gone wrong. Basically, that's the best way I can explain it without this being spoiled for you. The man that plays the psychiatrist is Casey Affleck. The antagonist in the story is played by Sam Claflin. Give me a minute. Sorry about that. We were about to have a lot of noise if I didn't pick her up. So, this movie I watched at the very beginning of last year, and oh no, I'm a mess now. This movie was really, really good. It's a thriller. Absolutely amazing. Sam Claflin did such a good job in this movie. One thing you should know about my channel is every single year there will be at least one Sam Claflin or Theo James movie in the top 16 at the end of every year. I mean, you've got to understand that about me. So this one definitely made the list. Some news outlets were calling it trashy. Yeah, so what? It's trashy. It's a good trashy, okay? It's about the psychiatrist and a patient that basically went wrong. And in my opinion, again, this movie was actually really predictable, guys. But it was a good watch, so that's why I'm recommending it to you. It was a good watch, and so yeah. Again, this one I'll put in a trigger warning for death. I'll put in a trigger warning for alleged suicide, as well as an affair. An affair. So that's what we'll put into that one. So that was the second movie on this list. So now we're moving down to the third one. This is an old one, guys. This is not a new release by any means, but it was my first time watching it this year. It's called Safe Haven. If you remember last year's review, I had reviewed another Josh Duhamel movie. That one was new. And that one was called The Lost Husband. This one was really, really good. It was a Josh Duhamel movie with David Lyons and Julianne Hough. Really good movie. It's basically about this woman, this blonde woman who moves to a small beach town. Basically, she's trying to run from her past, her not very distant past, and she basically meets this single father, and it basically goes from there. It is a contemporary romance story, and it's really good. Even though it was really good, I'm still going to give you some trigger warnings. Trigger warning for death. Trigger warning for abusive relationship. An abusive relationship. Also trigger warning for... Well, yeah, that's it, I guess. But it was a really amazing movie. Absolutely sweet movie. Again, I was impressed by it. I'd never watched it before. It's extremely old, so if you've watched it before, well, then you've watched it before, and you know how good this movie was. So that's where we're going with that. And yeah, that was, I guess, number 3 on the list. Number 4, Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat. Not the... I think there was an old movie that came out. Wait, let me see if there's an old one. Yes, there was an old Mortal Kombat that had came out years ago. Doesn't hold a candle to this one. I got the old one about a few years ago on a trip. It was, guys, when watching the new one, guys, the old one is terrible. Terrible. This movie was really good. A lot of gory action. Again, you're not going to want to watch this probably with kids around. You may even have a problem stomaching the extreme gore in this movie yourself. It was totally badass. There were some moments in this movie that I really enjoyed, and there were some moments in this movie that I didn't enjoy as much, but it was really good. Cast and crew, Hiroyuki Sanada played Scorpion. He's pretty much the only famous actor that I know of on this cast. Louis Tan, Mehcad Brooks. Yeah, there's not that many recognizable faces in this movie. To me, I didn't recognize many people in this movie. But it was totally jam-packed action, gore. If you like the Mortal Kombat game, you're gonna like this. So, totally recommend. And that was a new release. The next movie on our list is called Born a Champion. This one is about basically it's a comeback story about this man named Mickey and some certain events. I don't know how I should explain this without spoiling it for you, but basically it's about this jiu-jitsu fight. Basically the first match goes wrong, and the second match I really am trying not to spoil this. This is kind of like really difficult to do. Basically, it's a comeback story, and it's about this dude, and he runs this class, I believe jiu-jitsu class, and he basically is given a second shot to basically reverse what had happened before. It's got the cast. It's got Sean Patrick Flannery in it, as well as Dennis Quaid and this woman named Katrina Bowden. I really watched it for Dennis Quaid, although he wasn't even really in this movie that much. It was a really good movie. I would suggest that you go watch it. Again, if you're not into fighting and stuff like that, you might not want to watch that one. So, just putting that out there. The next movie that I watched, which it's hilarious that I watched this because the timing was right before they came out and found who the real Zodiac, allegedly who the real Zodiac killer was. So, the movie Zodiac. This is one of the older ones on the list. It's based off of a true story. It's based off of the Zodiac killer, and it runs through a few of the cases along with the notes and the ciphers that have come out. And I think in the year 2020 they had cracked one of the ciphers. And then this year they came out with DNA evidence, or last year I should say, in 2021, after I had watched that, not long after I watched this movie, I'd probably say a few months after I watched this movie, they came out with DNA evidence claiming they know who the real Zodiac killer is. He had actually had previous criminal history before, and I would imagine was on the suspect list. But this movie, I'm glad I watched it before we found out who the alleged real one is. I say alleged because apparently I'm not the only one that thinks that this could not be the guy, because now Mark Ruffalo has had some real bad takes this past year, but this is the one take that I would actually agree with. He said that basically he hopes they found the real guy, and that they're not hoping that they're not getting everyone's hopes up. But if this is based on DNA evidence, well, obviously he's directly linked to one of these cases. But anyway, this movie follows a basically cartoonist / journalist. He's working for a paper, and his hunt for the Zodiac killer in the late 60s and 70s. He plays, so let me just tell you the cast, okay? Because again, jam-packed cast. Jake Gyllenhaal, Mark Ruffalo, Robert Downey Jr., John Carroll Lynch, and a few others that you might recognize. I really, really enjoyed this movie. I thought it was really good. I really enjoyed all of their acting. Jake's acting, Mark's acting, as well as Robert Downey Jr.'s acting was really, really amazing in this movie. And I really enjoyed it. They did a really good job with the Zodiac scenes as well. yeah, this movie was good. And like I said, I'm glad I watched it before they came out with who they think is the real Zodiac killer. So, yeah, amazing movie, and there's some parts in this movie that'll get you on your edge of your seat. Um, I'm going to give a warning that you may not like this movie if you're not into extreme gore, and if certain let me put it this way, if certain activities make you squeamish, do not watch this movie, because it's definitely an R-rated movie. Okay, guys, just gonna put it like that. We already read that one. The next movie on our list is the movie Rope. This is probably, I believe, this is the oldest movie on this list. This is an Alfred Hitchcock movie with it's kind of okay. So James Stewart is in this movie. Now, if you've ever watched The Woman in the Window, which was one of my it made my top 16 last year. If you watch Woman in the Window, it's similar in the fact that this whole movie all takes place in this apartment. So, the cast here was the cast in this movie, the people in this movie was Farley Granger, James Stewart, and John Dahl, and a few others. This movie was hilarious. It's very much like, it kind of reminded me of, one of the other movies that I had in my top 16 that was an Alfred Hitchcock, where they kept redigging the body back up or whatever. I'll put the name for that movie here. This movie, though, Rope, was absolutely hilarious. It's about two guys that basically kill someone together, and all of these guests keep coming over, and basically they hide the body in one of the most curious places that you could hide a body, and it's actually hilarious. The main actor in this movie that basically killed the guy was he was absolutely hilarious. He was absolutely arrogant. But his acting was so good in this movie, and I absolutely 100% love this movie. I absolutely love the ending with James Stewart. I'm just going to leave that there. I was going to say more, but I'm just going to leave that there for you guys to enjoy. An amazing movie. If you have a problem with older movies, I don't know what to tell you. You guys are missing out. But this one's in color. So, yeah. Or at least I watched it in color. So, you guys, there's no reason to not watch this film. Okay. What is the next one that we have on the list? Okay, the next movie we have on the list for this year is called Run, Hide, Fight. It is they call it a thriller. I'd call it an action movie, because nothing about this was thrilling. This movie follows a 17-year-old girl in her high school, and things go basically miserably wrong. Let me tell you something. This was produced basically, I believe, by the Daily Wire. No, it wasn't produced by, the Daily Wire. It was distributed by the Daily Wire. Let me tell you guys something. I went into this movie specifically, out of all of the ones on this list, extremely skeptical. Extremely skeptical, because I'm like, how are you going to make a movie out of a subject matter like this? I think they did a great job. I think they did the best job they could with subject matter like this. I think they did it very, let's put it this way. I read Rage this year by Stephen King. This movie, I believe, was done, let's say, in the most classy way possible. Rage was written in a way that could be totally, that was totally, could be spun, could be twisted. This movie, I believe, in many ways was done, and I know it's kind of difficult to compare a book to a movie, but I mean, it's kind of comparable here. I believe they did as best of a job on this movie as they could, and in many ways, I believe that this book was written better than Rage. One thing that is absolutely tragic about this is that this movie has basically become the playbook for what children are now doing in their high schools if something like this takes place. For example, last year, I keep saying this year, last year, the year that I watched this movie, shortly months later after I watched this movie, that Michigan kid basically does the same thing to his school that these kids did without the filming of it and everything like that. Well, he did film and put stuff on his Instagram the day prior. Anyway, the point is, there was a kid on the football team. I think he was the quarterback or whatever. He was high up on the football team, and he basically tackled the kid. He basically he died doing it. He tackled the kid and sacrificed his own life for the whole school. This is becoming the playbook, sadly, for schools that are doing this. What am I gonna say? This movie was as good as it could be. I actually really enjoyed the way this movie was done. Like I said, I was skeptical going into this movie, for obvious reasons. And I'm not going to be here to have that debate on whether or not we should have guns in America, because quite honestly with you, it's not a debate. It's in our Constitution, so you want to go debate with the Founding Fathers on that one. I believe, and I'm just going to leave it at this, I believe every man and woman that's not a felon in this country has the right to own and bear arms. Period. End of story. Those rights do not end when tragedies begin. We have those rights actually to defend ourselves from crazy lunatic nuts like was played in this movie. The cast, Isabel May plays the main character, and Thomas Jane is her father. I don't know the rest of these people in this cast. I'm just going to be honest with you. Not a jam-packed cast, but it was definitely a good action movie. And as best as I think you could do with a story, a plotline like that. The next movie on this list for the top 16 that made the top 16 movies I've watched this year just came out, called it's the second Venom Let There Be Carnage. I never wanted to watch any of the Venom movies, but my brother got me to watch them this year, and the first one was, I'm not gonna lie to you, it was subpar. This one was worth the watch. And the first one was worth the watch just so I could watch this one. This movie basically continues the story of Eddie Brock and his little problem that he has with Venom, and continues, I guess, his relationship, or whatever's left of the relationship that he had with what's her name? Let me see. Whatever relationship that he had left with Annie, or Anne. I'm bad, not Annie, Anne. And really, really good movie. This plot line is basically about Woody Harrelson and Naomi Harris. In the movie, Woody Harrelson's name is Cletus, and her name is Shriek. I love their story together. I think they're couple goals. I think they did such a good job in the movie. Sadly, he was a loony bin, and sadly, he basically, I don't want to spoil it, but let's just say he was a really good character, and it's sad what had to happen to him. She was a really good character too. I thought it was so sweet. Guys, let me tell you something. Even though I understand that this is Marvel and that's DC, I'm just going to say this right now. Harley Quinn and the Joker could never. Do you understand what I'm saying? Okay, that's what I'm going to say. I'm saying that the Joker's scene where he busts Harley Quinn out in Suicide Squad does not have anything on this movie, and Cletus and Shriek's love story. Okay, I need you to understand that. Also, I'm thrilled for the third movie, because obviously there's going to be a third movie, where obviously somehow Venom and Spider-Man's story is going to line up here. I have refused to watch any of the new Spider-Mans. Oh yes, and you're going to be shocked when I tell you this. I haven't watched anything since the original Peter Parker. Since the original, I haven't watched Tom Holland, and I have not even watched the other skinny looking guy. I'll put his name up here. I refuse to watch any of the new Spider-Man movies. I grew up with the original Spider-Man, I grew up with the original Green Goblin, and I grew up with the original, basically Venom. Wasn't he Venom, or the Black Spider-Man? Anyway, the point is, I grew up with that. I grew up with those Spider-Man movies. I refuse, absolutely refuse to watch the and I may have to now that they're doing a crossover here. Hopefully, Tom Holland will move into the Venom movies and not the other way around, because I'm not trying to watch any of the Spider-Man movies. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? I absolutely refuse. So, a lot of people are going to disagree with me on this, because a lot of people are absolute Tom Holland fans. Sorry, guys. I just didn't grow up like that. I didn't grow up with Tom Holland, and I don't want to watch any of his movies. I'm not interested. But if I have to, because of Venom, I will. I will watch whatever one Venom's in. And that's just that. But this movie was so much better than this is one of those movies where the sequel is better than the first one. Watch it, watch it. I'm telling you, it was so good. Guys, Harley Quinn and the Joker could never. Do you understand what I'm saying? Okay. That's that one. The movie that I'm about to bring up to you right now was another favorite of mine. I would watch this again. Any movies that I like, I would watch again. This is a movie that I would watch again. Suicide Kings. Oh my god. Guys. It's about a group of friends in their 20s. And they basically kidnap this guy. And basically they kidnap this guy because he's rich and has the ransom money that they need. So it's a group of 20-year-old friends. Uh, it's a really good book. Not book. Why do I keep saying book? It's a really good movie, guys. One of my favorite movie review channels on here had recommended this in one of his movie recommendation videos. This was one of the best. One of the best choices I made in the year 2021 was to watch this movie. I don't know how to explain it without really getting into it on this. Just know this is kind of like a crime, mystery, psychological thriller type movie. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Like I said, it's like 5 friends and they decide to kidnap Christopher Walken. That's who's in this movie. So let me read off the cast to you, because this, again, jam-packed cast. Christopher Walken, Dennis Leary, Jay Moore, Sean Patrick Flannery, Johnny Galecki, Henry Thomas, Jeremy Sisto, and Brad Garrett, aka the big brother off of Everybody Loves Raymond. This movie was classic 90s. So good. So good. I don't even want to give you guys any more details than that. Just watch it. You better watch it. I'm telling you. You better watch this movie. Speaking of better watch, I have a new favorite Christmas movie. It's called Better Watch Out. I didn't expect anything going into this movie. Give me 1 second. You're a pain on him. She's been making noise every single time I'm trying to record these videos. I didn't see... Again, I went into this movie a skeptic. When I see little kids doing R-rated movies, I have red flags going up automatically. This movie was really good. Let's just say a boy... This kind of reminds me of My Babysitter's Vampire, if you watched that show as a kid. Not the fact that any of these people are vampires, and it's just the dynamics here. And actually, the young blonde kid in this movie looks just like Rory. I'm not even lying. So it's about a kid and his babysitter during Christmas, and basically there is a disturbance, and they have to go deal with the disturbance. And it's a really, really good thriller. It's not, I would say it's not for everybody, because not because the content and the subject matter, just because it's a kid horror thriller. Like, it's not for everybody, but I thought it was absolutely hilarious and super disturbing, and it was really good Christmas movie. It's one of my favorites now. So yeah, it's about a boy and his friend and the boy's babysitter, basically. And then a few other people come along and are strung along in this really twisted disturbance that took place. The cast in this, the girl that plays the babysitter, her name is Olivia Dijon. Whoa, I don't even know how to pronounce that. The main boy in this story is, his name is Levi Miller, and then the one that I told you looks like, Rory, is called Ed Oxenbould. Guys, if I'm going to put a side by side of what Rory and this kid looks like. Literally, there's no difference. No difference. That must be like his older brother or his cousin or something, because they look exactly the same. Okay. The next movie on this list is called The Resident. another rated. I think all of these, guys, I may be wrong, but I think every last one of these movies are rated R, with the exception of Safe Haven. Crazy, crazy. Anyway, this is one of those where I can't give and divulge too much, as well. This is a total thriller. It'll keep you watching. It's actually on Tubi right now. A lot of these are on Tubi, so go watch them before they're off Tubi. This is about a doctor. Yeah, this is about a doctor and a next door neighbor that I believe gave her the apartment. I think he either gave it to her or he was working on it or whatever. But guys, I've got to end it there because it's, if I say too much, you guys will basically be spoiled. So good. The woman in this movie, let me go through the cast again. So the woman that plays the main woman in the story, Juliet, her, Hilary Swank plays her, and the next door neighbor is played by Jeffrey Dean Morgan, and his father is played by Christopher Lee. This was an amazing movie, kind of trashy thriller. Just go watch it, it's really good. The other movie that made the list this year was also on Tubi, and was also another Jeffrey Dean Morgan movie. And this one I really enjoyed as well. Like I said, it was a true story. So this is about basically a serial killer and two cops on the hunt in this kind of broken down small, I want to say industrial town, but not really. It's kind of like this small southern town in Texas, and there's a serial killer going around basically killing and raping girls. And again, if that's not your cup of tea, do not watch this. And basically it's about two detectives, two cops, and they're questioning the whole town, trying to figure out who did what. And I really like this movie. It had Chloe Grace Moretz in it. This movie was done when she was younger. This movie, again, is kind of old. This is one from 2011. Like I said, Jeffrey Dean Morgan was in this, and then Sam Worthington played his partner in crime. Jason Clarke is in this movie, as well as Stephen Graham, and a few others you might recognize. Absolutely amazing movie, and I would totally recommend that you watch it. What is the other one on the list? The other one on our list for this year was a new release. Escape Room 2. You guys have no idea how long I was waiting for this release. The first one literally left us on the edge of our seats, and to be honest, you really should rewatch the first one to understand this one better, because you're going to be like totally lost after watching this after like a year or two. So it's kind of confusing, but it was kind of confusing going into it, but then I kind of started to understand it. This movie was so good. So good. I love the Escape Room series. Absolutely amazing. This one, I guess I'm going to say that this one I actually liked better than the first one, and the only reason why I'm going to say that is because I actually remember this one way better than the first. The first one is kind of like, I don't even remember. Like, guys, I seriously don't even really remember the first one. Like, I remember a few things, but, because I did rewatch it after watching this one, just to understand a little bit more. This one is so much better. So much better, in my opinion. It's got, actually, while watching this movie, I recognized, I believe he was in, no, I could be wrong. Let me see. I don't want to say something if it's not true. I don't think it's true. Yeah, it's not true. This cast was packed. Taylor Russell was in it. Holland Roden from Teen Wolf was in it. Isabel Fuhrman was in it, which I believe, isn't she Clove from Hunger Games? Yep, she was Clove from Hunger Games. Who else was in it? Deborah Ann Woll was in it. She's the blonde lady on Daredevil. I forgot her name in this show, I'm sorry. India Moore was in this. Logan Miller was in this. I mean, this is just a jam-packed cast. And it was really amazing. It definitely kept me on the edge of my seat. And really, really nice movie. Another one that I watched this year with Jake Gyllenhaal in it that made the list was Southpaw. This one I'm shocked that I didn't watch earlier. I've pretty much watched almost every boxing / MMA movie there is. So it was time to watch this one. This one was on Tubi for a while as well. It's about Jake Gyllenhaal. Again, this is another redemption story. This is very similar to Born a Champion, one of the other movies that I mentioned earlier on this list. It's about this guy. In the movie, he's called Billy Hope. In real life, he's called Jake Gyllenhaal. And it's a redemption story of a night at a charity event gone wrong. And basically is to fight for his family. He is to fight to get his career back, his money up, and a sad story, but amazing story. You're gonna love the ending. And this movie was so good. It had Forrest Whitaker in it, along with 50 Cent. And Rachel McAdams played his wife. Naomi Harris is also in this movie as well. Victor Ortiz was in this. Rita Ora was in this. Roy Jones Jr., I believe he was also narrating in this. Absolutely amazing movie. And like I said, I'm shocked that I never saw it before. But it was a totally good movie. Absolutely amazing. Now, last but not least on this list was a new release. This one was really trippy. I had to put at least one sci-fi movie on this list, and this made the list. The Tomorrow War with Chris Pratt and Yvonne Strahovski from Handmaid's Tale. Oh my gosh. Trippy. It's about time travel and aliens. Do I need to say more? In the year 2051, this is about time travel and aliens and fighting aliens, basically to save the world. And guys, this is you guys remember the movie that I told you guys about last year with Theo James in it with the robots, and how I told you it was very Twilight Zone-y because it was really trippy towards the end. That same feeling I had with that movie, totally different plot line, totally different story, but it's the same feeling I had because it was very Twilight Zone-y, this movie was. and very trippy. And trust me, you will not see this coming from any direction. You will not see the ending coming. You just won't see it coming. And it's a long one, guys. It's 2 hours, 20 minutes. It's well worth the watch. And I actually really enjoyed, being that I've only seen Yvonne Strahovski as the witch bitch from Handmaid's Tale. I enjoyed seeing her in this movie. It was a different side to her that I've never seen before. And I really enjoyed her in this movie. And I enjoyed Chris Pratt in this movie as well. This was a very nice sci-fi movie. I can't complain about it. I've seen let me just say this, though. I've seen way worse alien movies. Way worse. So this was actually kind of like a breath of fresh air whenever I see a decent alien movie. Out of the sci-fi genre, that's actually my least favorite, is the aliens. I absolutely despise alien movies, but this was a good one, so it had to be on the list. One thing I will say is there are no honorable mentions this year. The ones that were my top 16 made the top 16. The only honorable mention I would give, but I really can't give because I didn't really enjoy it because it was too gory, was Spiral. It's a shame. I was actually going to put that on the list, but it got replaced with Southpaw. And the reason why it got replaced with Southpaw was because, guys, I had to turn away through like a good quarter of that movie because it was so gory. So gory. And to be honest, I watched it as a standalone because I've never seen the original Saw movies. Guys, that movie was absolutely uncalled for, the amount of gore in there. I understand it's a horror. I just guess I can't stomach it, and that's why you'll never see many horror movies pop up on these lists. I watched it because of Max Minghella. I mean, guys, he's fine, but I really watched it for him, and it was a total disappointment. I liked the end. I can't even say I liked the ending and that's why I just didn't make this list. There was, let me actually bring the book out so I can tell you guys the ones that could have made this list but just couldn't make the list. And we do this every year at the end because I watch so many more movies and books. The ones that just couldn't make it on the list was, I watched all of the Left Behind movies. I loved all of them. They just couldn't make the list. Like I said, the Spiral couldn't make the list. I was gonna put Battle Royale on here. That was a nice surprise. That's actually, I'm going to put that as a honorable mention. Battle Royale. How have I never watched this movie before? I don't know how. One thing I will say, I did try to watch Train to Busan because everybody and their mothers was talking about that for the longest time. I couldn't do it because the dubbing was so bad. I would have watched it with captions, but the dubbing was so bad. I don't even think there was an option to put captions on and just listen to the original native language. Because I would have done that, but maybe I'll have to watch it on a different platform. Maybe that's the key. Because the dubbing of that movie was horrendous. I couldn't get through it. But Battle Royale, that was some good dubbing, and I usually don't do dubs. I usually read the captions, but the dubbing wasn't bad, guys. It wasn't bad. So that was an honorable mention. And you know what, guys? There's no other. I will give some honorable mentions. Torn Curtain. I thought that was a good movie to watch. So that makes the honorable mentions, I guess. But most of the movies this year, guys, I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of disappointed with a lot of the ones that I watched. I mean, Black Widow was terrible. Let me tell you the ones that were terrible. Black Widow was terrible. Murder on the Orient Express was absolutely horrific compared to the book. what else? Woman in the Window. Oh my god, let me tell you the biggest disappointment of this year. I had this happen to me last year too. Remember with Artemis Fowl? That was the biggest disappointment of my entire last year. Because I've been waiting for that book, my childhood book series, to be turned into movies since I was a child. Okay, people had their Harry Potter, I had my Artemis Fowl. Okay, I loved reading those books when I was a kid. They fucked up on that book so fucking bad, and then they did the same shit this year. Something that happened with this Woman in the Window stuff? This movie had been in production for over 2 years. Over 2 years. At least. And I was so thrilled after I had read the book. I was like, man, there's no way they're going to mess this book up. There's just no way, because this book was so good. They screwed that story up so freaking bad. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, Julianne Moore and Amy Adams signed up for this? Because Amy Adams, the movies that I've seen her in, she's just so good. She is, and same thing with Julianne Moore. I was thoroughly disappointed with that movie. It makes me furious just to think about how bad that movie was, guys. Furious. Absolutely infuriating. I waited so long for that movie. It's a good thing I didn't have to wait for it to come out in theaters. That movie was the biggest disappointment ever. Ever. And I had read stories, because I was so waiting for this movie to drop. I was reading articles on early releases of this movie to private audiences, and they were saying that it was terrible. I couldn't believe them when they were saying this, and then I watched it for myself, and I literally want to pull my eyes out of my sockets. That's how bad it was. It was so... I don't know how you mess up a book that was that good up that bad. I just don't understand it. Amy Adams was so good in Sharp Objects, was based on a book. Julianne Moore was so good in Children of Men, which was based on a book. She was so good in The Hunger Games, based on a book. I don't understand what went wrong with this movie. I really don't understand it. Somebody needs to be fired over that movie. I'm telling you right now, somebody needs to be fired, because I'm still not over how... Oh my gosh, how bad that movie was. I'm not over it. I'm seriously not over that. I completely forgot about how bad that one was. 10 by 10 was terrible, guys. I tried watching that. That was terrible. Karen was actually pretty funny. I would actually request that you watch that. That was a pretty funny comedy. It couldn't make the list. Black Widow was terrible. Fast 9. Let me tell you something about Fast and the Furious 9. I was looking at my list of the movies that I watched this year, and guys, when I tell you, I don't even remember that movie real well. I only remember Diesel and Cena, I guess, when they were kids. That's about the only part of the movie that I remember. Seriously. So many bad movies that came out this year, guys. It's such a disappointment. Can 2022 be the year that they stop messing up book-to-movie adaptations? Please. Stop messing up my favorite books. They're messing up all of my favorite books. I know. Let me tell you something else that's happening this year that I'm kind of excited about, but kind of not, because I've never read the books. And I hope they don't do the same thing that they did to my favorites to this book series, because every time a high-profile book, movie is coming out, or series is coming out, somehow Hollywood just manages to mess it up real bad. So, Daisy Jones and the Six, I've been watching closely, Sam Claflin's Instagram. They're filming it. They've been filming it, I believe. And I've never read that book. It makes me want to read the book now that, I believe it's about a band or whatever. I could be totally wrong. But I want to read the book before I watch the movie, because I'm totally watching that movie. But I hope to the Lord Jesus Christ that if I end up reading that book, that movie is damn good. And I hope that movie better be damn good, because every book-to-movie adaptation I've been looking forward to has been an absolute flop for the past 2 years. And I'm getting sick and tired of them ruining all my favorite books. I really am. Let's just cross our fingers that they don't do the same bullshit with Battle of Songbirds and Snakes. I don't see how that would be possible, personally, because of how well the other 4 movies were done. I really don't see how they could mess this one up real bad. But, I'm praying, guys, they don't mess this movie up, because I feel like there's so much potential for that movie and for the casting and everything. I feel like there's so much potential. There's so much you could do with that plot line. So much you could do with that movie that I will be devastated. I will be absolutely devastated. You won't even be able to talk to me for a few months if that movie, if it ends up being as bad as Woman in the Window and Artemis Fowl. I just won't be able to handle it, guys. Somebody's gonna have to roll me out the house or something, because if they screw that movie up when they do it, I don't know how I'll be able to handle it, guys. I really don't, because that book has got so much potential. So much potential. If they screw it up, guys, I'm telling you, there will be no getting over that. So I'm telling you. And they better film it in the same place. And I don't know how they'll be able to do the whole District 12 thing, but I hope it has the same vibe and feel as, and that's going to be let me tell you, that's going to be the most difficult part for them, is having the same vibe and feel, and same feel to the soundtrack and everything, the cinematography and everything, to the original Hunger Games movies. They're going to have a real hard time, I believe, matching that up to the same universe. I really believe, and I really hope somebody, a creative mind over there, can help with that. Because I'm telling you, if it turns out that it's nothing like, in terms of aesthetic and it being, obviously, you being able to tell that it's part of the same franchise, there's going to be major issues. Major issues. So let's just cross our fingers that they don't mess that up. But I'm starting not to have a lot of faith in these book-to-movie adaptations. Seriously, guys, I about done had it, okay, with these book-to-movie adaptations. It's either you do it right, or you don't do it at all, okay? And I don't even know if Death on the Nile came out yet. I'm almost terrified to watch that. I'm almost, after watching Murder on the Orient Express, I'm almost terrified to watch Death on the Nile. I'm telling you, if they mess that movie up, I'm going to be even more furious, guys. Even more furious. But anyway, just leave our books alone if you're not going to do them the right way, please. So anyway, here's what I believe should happen before we end this video, which has become into a podcast episode. One thing that I will say, if they're going to do a book-to-movie adaptation, I believe that there should be a group of about 100 readers watching their every move. Can we make a petition that says, if you want to make a book-to-movie adaptations, that you have to have at least 100 readers watching your every move before you put the movie out while on set? Can we do that, please? Can we start a petition? Where can we start the petition? Somebody needs to do that. But anyway, I think that's the only way that these book-to-movie adaptations can actually be done justice. Justice can be done to them, because these Hollywood producers, cinematographers, photographers, I don't care what the hell they are, actors, somebody needs to start reading these books, because I'm telling you, it's almost like they don't read the book. Like, I'm telling you right now, if I was an actor and I was given a script like that for the Woman in the Window, I would have walked off the set. And then on top of it, the setting just is not it, guys. The setting for that movie was not it. The cinematography was not it. It was just, that movie was sloppy. So, and they had 2 friggin' years. Can't even believe it. But anyway, until next time, hopefully next year, there will be some decent book-to-movie adaptations that I can bring forward to you. But there has been zero. There's been zero, as far as I'm concerned. And somebody needs to really there needs to be somebody reading these books for real, because I don't understand how these keep getting messed up so bad. I just don't understand it, especially when you have 2+ years. But anyway, until next time, bye, I guess.